Okay, friends, now I want to demonstrate sine t into u of t. So u of t means unit step function. So this is equal to 0 when t is less than 0, is equal to 1 when t is greater than or equal to 0. So it is a unit step function. When we multiply f of t, say for example sine t, so what is the resultant function and what is the graph of product of these two functions? Okay, now we can see one by one. So we are already familiar with this graph. It is a unit step function. When the value of the function is less than 0, you will get the points or values on the t-axis. If t is strictly less than 0, what we are observing, a red line, right? And it will maintain 1 unit height, and when t is greater than or equal to 0, you will get this line. So we call it as an unit step function. Okay, when we draw the diagram of sine t, I hope we can obtain a curve like this passing through the origin. So when we multiply these two, or before that, multiplication can be represented mathematically. Sine t into u of t, how we have defined in the last video. Exactly in the similar way, we can write down the value of this function becomes 0 when t is strictly less than 0, and this is equal to, you will get sine t when t is greater than or equal to 0. Here u of t represents like a switch, right? So the switch will off when t is less than 0, right? When the switch will on when t is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, now what is the graph of the resultant function? So what we are observing, we may get a graph like this. So this is the t-axis, f of t 0, and we can choose t on this axis, right? So I want to repeat once again, when t is strictly less than 0, you will get the values on the red line. It means left hand side of f of t axis. When t is greater than or equal to 0, you will get the values on the right hand side of f of t axis. So it means you will get a curve, sinusoidal curve as it is. So this part is not visible when t is less than 0. When t is greater than or equal to 0, remaining part, right hand side of f of t axis, it remains as it is. Or sometimes we can say that, so this part will cut off when t is strictly less than 0. That is the meaning of so this function. Okay, now I want to give one more similar type of example. Sometimes so they may ask us to sketch the graph of t plus 1 into u of t minus 2, and we know that it is a unit displaced function. So when we draw the graph of this function, I hope you'll get a graph like this, right? So this axis is called t-axis. When t is strictly less than 2, you will get the values on the t-axis. When t is greater than or equal to 2, it will maintain 1 unit height, and you will get a line like this. That's why it is denoted by u of t minus 2, right? So I want to repeat once again, when t is strictly less than 2, so curve is cut off, or what we can say that it is vanishes, right? So when t is greater than or equal to 2, you will get a curve like this. So that is the meaning of u of t minus 2. Okay, now I want to draw the graph of t plus 1. So you will get a straight line like this, what we are observing, a red straight line. This is the graph of t plus 1. And what is the resultant graph? We can define mathematically u of t plus 1 into t minus 2. So that is equal to, so you will get 0 when t is less than 2, right? So otherwise you will get t plus 1 when t is greater than or equal to 2 mathematically. And what is the resultant graph when you multiply t plus 1 into u of t minus 2. So this is the resultant graph. So t axis f of t 0, and again you can choose the t on this axis, right? So t may be less than 2. When the t is less than 2, this part of the curve vanishes, right? So when t is greater than or equal to 2, straight line will visible. Straight line means t plus 1 is visible. So that's why it is denoted by t plus 1 into u of t minus 2. So that is the resultant graph, or this is the resultant graph. So mathematically it is denoted by product of these two functions, and it can be defined in this form. I want to repeat once again. You will get a function value 0 when t is strictly less than 2 is equal to t plus 1 when t is greater than or equal to 2. I hope now it is clear. Thank you.